Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horror Night Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
Barely, but I'm functioning.
We're hanging on a thread tonight. It's just one of those nights. But we're here to finish off our mainstream or bust roulette marathon. We extended it an extra week, and honestly, we'll get into it. But we are going to complete this marathon. It has been an interesting week. It seems like all the picks had to do with animals or creatures. We got two just normal films, and the rest of them were animal related. But hey, that's neither here nor there. That's the way the wheel works. And as mentioned last week with the wheel spin, we got Anaconda this week. And Anaconda came out around, I think it came out on Christmas last year. And I remember seeing the trailer, just browsing YouTube, like, wait a second, they're making an Anaconda film again. And I watched the trailer, and again, the trailer didn't really do much for me when I watched it. Like, okay, I mean, they're trying, they're putting Sir Mix-a-Lot in there with Baby Got Back with the Anaconda Don't Want None. And that's pretty prevalent throughout the film towards the last act as well in the credits, the remix. But again, I didn't think too much of it. It's just like, well, whatever. I mean, they didn't really do that much with it to begin with for so many years. I think the last thing they did was Lake Placid versus Anaconda, which was, that's when Sci-Fi Channel was just churning out Anaconda films, and then the Lake Placid films, and then they just decided to do a versus film. So again, that was just like, whatever. So now we have Anaconda 2025 with Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and we're introduced to Doug, which is played by Jack Black, and he works for this wedding video company who goes around makes wedding videos basically, but he's sort of a out there photographer where he has all these crazy ideas that he wants to do, and he's just like, because he used to make films when he was younger, and that was like his dream was to just make films with his friends. And working at this wedding video imaging place, he's just not, it's just the job, it's the paycheck. He's not really fulfilling his dreams. He's just making stupid wedding videos with dumb individuals that just want to do same old photo shoots, lovey-dovey stuff like that. And then we're also introduced to Griff, Paul Rudd, who basically sort of continued on trying to act from where he was making videos with Doug. And so he went to Hollywood, and then he got like little bit parts here and there, and then he got fired. And he's trying to make it, but he's not. He's given it too much thought, whereas the directors and those involved aren't really, like, they just see him as a bit player, just like a walk-on role basically. And he's seeing more, he's wanting to give more for his character when he's acting. And it's Doug's birthday coming up, and they talk on the phone, and basically, well, it's sort of a surprise birthday party where that Doug's child, his son, planned it. And we're introduced to Claire and Kenny, who's also the two friends that they used to make films with. And Griff brings over an old tape called the Quatch, and it was an old film that they made about a Bigfoot basically when they were younger as kids, and that kind of puts the gleam back in Doug's eye, just like all the stuff that he did and just like how he made it and had fun, and it was just him and his friends having fun. And Griff, when they're all together, they're at a restaurant, and Griff earlier in the film when he gets fired, he sees all the posters of like films that like the studio that he was working on produced, and he sees the poster for Anaconda, and that kind of brings an idea in his head, because apparently when they were younger, they loved the hell out of Anaconda. and Griff brings this idea like, hey, I talked to the lady. Apparently, it's based off a book. He's just pulling strings basically, and like, let's remake Anaconda. Like you're great at what you do. Because they're always hyping Doug up, and like, let's do this. You can come up with a few ideas, and just have fun. And of course, Doug's a little hesitant because he has a family. His wife and kid, and he's just and the dead end job, and he's just like, I can't do it, like I can't do it. And so his wife basically tells him like, do it. That's like the most happiness I've seen from you in so long. And that kind of puts the spark under his ass, where he goes and writes the script, and then the Claire, they have to get the money basically to finance the movie, because they're actually going to go to the Amazon to film the film, and then they have to get a snake wrangler and all that stuff. And so they come together, and then they get the money, and then they go travel over to Brazil and the Amazon. They find a snake wrangler with an actual anaconda, giant, and then they're also which is Santiago is his character, and then another side character is Anna, which we might get into her subplot a little bit later. And so they're going over there, they're making the film, on the cheap. It's just a little, guerrilla sort of project. And a certain thing happens with the stunt anaconda with Griff that causes like, oh crap, and we don't have a snake anymore. And they decide, Santiago and Griff decide to go out into and find basically another snake. And lo and behold, they find an actual giant anaconda, and thus a chase ensues where they're trying to escape the Amazon and not get attacked by an anaconda. And overall, I mean, I'm going to be blunt. I wasn't the biggest fan of this one. I just felt the comedy did not work, in my opinion. This really kind of harkens back to those late 2000s, early 2010s, like just like goofy comedies, like Strange Wilderness, which also had Steve Zahn in it, and like Brothers Solomon, where like it was just like goofy comedies, and like it just didn't work. Like there's like maybe like a cult following for the film or something like that. For those films where like they're trying to be dumb and stupid, but it's just like something doesn't work. Sort of like a Hot Rod situation where like you don't it's not really that good, but like there's a cult following for it because of for what it is. It's just one of those where it's just like it tries really hard, and it's just like I didn't think the dialogue and the comedy was that funny. Like I said, if it was from 2008 to 2011, yeah, I mean, it'd fall right in place with those films. But it's like it's trying to do this whole Tropic Thunder situation where you have people in a predicament and they don't know how to get out of said predicament, and then like you toss a giant snake into the mix, and like at least like Tropic Thunder is kind of it was funny. Like this one is just like, again, those comedies from that era, like maybe even a little bit of Baghead if you want to throw in like a horror meta movie as well, because it's like very meta, because they're always talking about Anaconda and the actors involved, and then it also gets a little extra meta later on in the film when another subplot comes into place, but I don't want to get into that just yet. But yeah, like I thought, like, again, it just didn't. The Anaconda stuff was fine, but honestly, it just kind of felt few and far between, because it was more about the relationship of the friendship of everyone and their predicaments, and like, oh, how are we going to get out of this situation? Like, oh, I got what happened? He got stung by something, and then there's the piss scene, and it was just like ridiculous scene. Like, oh, this would be funny. And then there's another one later on with the boar on Jack Black where he's running. It was just like a bunch of stupid stuff like that, like putting the squirrel in his mouth. It's just like a lot of just like offbeat humor that just didn't really mesh well with like the film being told. And I don't know, it's just like, again, it felt like two different things, butting heads. Like the snake aspect, the anaconda aspect, I didn't mind. It's like the best moments of the film, honestly, when the anaconda started attacking. Um, but it didn't really do much for me, like this buddy adventure sort of film. It's sort of like it's like Be Kind Rewind with Anaconda, basically, where like it has that exact same vibe to it, where like the comedy's a little offbeat, and it doesn't really. It's not like full in your face comedy, but it's trying to pull for laughs. Like I'm sure some people like saw this in theaters and they chuckled a lot. Like I don't. Again, I'm not bashing those people that did, but again, a lot of comedy, like everything, it's subjective, and I just didn't find any of it to be humorous at all. It's just like weird predicaments. Oh, that's funny. Like that would be funny if this happened. It would be funny if that happened. And it's just like it didn't really mesh well with me with the horror aspect of the Anaconda stuff. But Ian, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth and probably get a little bit more detail.
Oh my lord. This movie is exactly what you said. Like this movie was trying too hard to be something. It's like, and they kept hounding us about that. Like, part of the joke was, themes. I was like, if I hear the word theme one more time, I'm punching my computer screen. Like, I don't know. This movie tried way too hard to be something that it's also that's the weirder part too, is that it tried to be something, but like also at the same time, it felt like it didn't try hard enough or way too hard in some areas. And then like the comedy was just not there. Like that is not my type of comedy. I don't know. I felt like the jokes never landed, and I felt like it was just dragged out way too long. Like it's an hour and a half movie, and then the last like 40 minutes is when anything really happens. So like almost half the movie is just nothing. And then even when the Anaconda does come out, they focus on everything else. And it's just like, I want more Anaconda. I was like, that's what made the first movie, like that they're trying to spoof on, work so well, was that the Anaconda was the threat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, while that movie isn't the best movie in the world, there's a reason that people still talk about it. It's because it had something to talk about. This movie just like, I feel like there's no rewatch value to this movie at all.
No,
Because
like I'm right there with you. Like I'm right there with you because like why would you want to watch this when you can just watch the original or even any of the other sequels? Like there's so many better like giant. There's King Cobra. I mean honestly, I'd rather watch Boa too. Like just like the knockoff films that came after Anaconda, that it started that giant snake craze. Like, but yeah, like there's so much far more entertaining moments in Anaconda. Like John Voight, come on, man. And just like the practical snake and the effects like that, and just like I remember I went to theaters and watched that in 1997 when it came out. Like, so it's like it's trying to play on the nostalgia of the film, but I just don't feel like it really kind of achieved what it wanted to set out to do. It was just like, hey, we got this IP, let's fuck around with it, and like let's make it a goofy buddy comedy. And like that can work sometimes, but it's just like it didn't feel like it needed that. Like I get it for trying to change it up a little bit, besides being just a normal killer snake movie, but it needed a little bit more to it besides just the buddy aspect.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, it's just like, okay, failed career, failed career, failed career, joke, joke, joke. Let's talk about this, and then let's shoot a little bit of the movie. Oh, let's do something a tiny bit shocking. Oh, we're gonna walk through the water. Oh no, he's turning around because he's scared, and it's just like, holy shit. I was like, the everything that happens in this movie can be you can literally sum up this entire movie from beginning to end and not miss anything out in like 5 minutes, because
Hmm.
there's no deeper meanings behind anything other than like what they force feed you about nostalgia, culture, and everything. They even make a joke about making a movie. It's like, oh, there's no original ideas anymore. That's why we're doing this again. And it's just like, your meta humor is it just this movie is forced. And honestly, this is right here is one of the reasons I did not see this movie in theaters, even though I have Movie Pass and I have points to use, and I could have just spent like 12 points out of the 38 I have. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not even going to waste my points on this. And I'm glad I didn't. But like, honestly, I kind of felt like I would have gotten a better enjoyment out of a shitty Louisa film, because like, at
Yeah,
least
now we're kind of
hurt so
regretting it not
hard.
landing on the other Oz film, because at least
I
we had something to talk about.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like this movie just has no substance behind it. And it's like, oh yeah, the Anaconda looked cool, which is really funny because I've been getting a lot of like Anaconda videos, and like I totally forgot that this was what we landed on. But I actually was getting, and apparently they just discovered uh anacondas that could be bigger than the 25 feet that normally happens in the Amazon in some unexplored part. So I was like, that was funny that I got that right before this movie. And I was like, okay. But that was just a little anecdote, but God, it's just like I want to think about something else. Like
Yeah, this is just one of those. It's just like it's forgettable, and like, I mean, I guess again, I don't know. I mean, it was an IP, and like decided what the hell, what the
yeah.
hell, basically, and shot for the fences, but it just didn't work for me. And like
Yeah.
again, there's probably people out there that laughed at it, and again, no harm, no foul. Um,
Exactly. I mean, we
I
all
mean,
have
I've
our
I've
taste.
been like, listen, I've been to theaters where I went to movies where comedies or horror films, and like I've went to comedies and didn't laugh once, and like everyone else was chuckling around me. I went to horror films and didn't move or do anything because it just was dull and lifeless, while everyone else was like apparently
Yeah.
having the scariest moment of their life.
All right.
Like Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see, I'm not a big fan of movies like Step Brothers or anything like. I've watched them. It's just not for me. Like I'm not even a big fan of the Hangover movies. Like, or the first one I thought was kind of funny at points, but I was just like, eh. So that's just kind of my humor is a little weirder than most.
Yeah.
But I mean, getting into a little bit of spoiler territory, like I got very irritated that they started doing the Anaconda and then switching to like some gold smuggling. And I was like, okay, they're focused on this a little too much. It's like we're getting the snake. Oh, we're getting this now because this is adding a new element to this, and it's like,
Themes.
and I was just like, oh my god. I was like, the snake is barely in this movie. Like, for a movie about that's supposed to be about an anaconda, and they focus on the trailer about it, we barely get the snake. And it's just like, okay, this is what I was wanting to watch. This is the movie I signed on to watch. Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's, I think if you just cut it all down and just had the snake, it'd be like a 20-minute movie. It's just 10
I
minutes of
mean,
them
you
getting
had to
there.
introduce characters to get yeah, you had to introduce characters to get fed to it, you know. So that's the whole thing. Like, oh, we have to shoehorn this gold subplot in so we can have the opening attack with the cartels or whatever drug smugglers, and then we have to have um, the other one come in towards her subplot and like
Yeah.
the reveal of her and the undercover cop because of reasons, and then the film crew that's shooting Anaconda. Like, what? Why couldn't we see? We had to see the aftermath of it. Like, you couldn't have shown. Again, it's not their movie. I get it. It's Doug and Griff's. And their
Yeah.
friendship and all the friendships, just like their antics together and how they act. And then there has to be a falling out, and then that sets up more stuff later on. So it's like it's very sort of rinse and repeat, and it just doesn't really add no flavor to what's already there. I mean, when you already have something great, and then you're gonna go get the cheap version of it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
this,
That's
this
just,
is like the Walmart great value version.
and then they make their film and everybody is cheering. And I'm like, what film did they film? We didn't see that. We barely saw anything actually happen. But
Yeah.
I don't know. And then the end, like oh, you made this film? And I was like, oh my god. That just
Fan service, nostalgia, and
I
you gotta pull
know.
in characters from the original.
That's just what I was just like. I just oh my god, I'm at a loss. Honestly, I'm at a loss
And
for
that's
words
kind of
because of like
yeah,
nothing.
and that's kind of dumb too, in a sense, because he already sent the crew over to film Anaconda, and then everyone died, and then like they decide, oh, we're gonna do it again, like after everyone died. It's like that's kind of stupid. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, like that's what I was like. What? Oh, will you direct it? What the hell? Direct what? Why are you? I was like, they already did.
Yeah.
It's like I
Why
just
don't why doesn't the company pick it up and just release their version instead of remaking it? Like with I don't know. It's a minor little thing, little grip. That we were just like,
well, yeah, but when there's nothing else to really grasp,
yeah,
the minor gripes are major. That's just I think that this film was just boring, like
yeah,
absolutely blasé in the way people were going on about this movie. Like I heard it was mostly a big miss. And honestly, I'm kind of burnt out on Jack Black as is because he's just in everything lately. And I'm kind of just he has kind of one track humor. But that's just because that's what people want him in.
yeah,
And like I don't know. I kind of was expecting more because I do like Jack Black and I like Paul Rudd. I think they're both funny people. This was not funny. Oh,
no. And again, they're trying to introduce all these little character development plots. Like with Griff, him being a failed actor, but he wants to come together with his friends to make films. Doug and his dead end job and everything. Claire, um, Claire and Griff sort of have a budding relationship, and then Kenny, which we barely even talked about. but he's like an alcoholic and druggy and all that. And like every time that he starts the project, he gets drunk and high and kind of has all these other issues as well. And they're just trying to introduce all these weird, I wouldn't say weird, but just like odd subplots for these characters to deal with. Like because Kenny's sort of the I don't even know how I don't even know how you could describe his character. He's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Everything's wrong with him. He's simple in a sense. He's not like simple, but like he's simple.
Yeah. I still. Oh my god, what is that movie he was in where it was with Jack Black?
Saving.
Yes.
Saving
Yes. Yeah.
Silverman.
Saving Silverman. And now that was a funny movie. But I was like, when I saw the cats, I was like, at the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe this might actually kind of be funny because I think individually all of these people are hilarious, and to a degree,
they should have made it a little bit more sort of vulgar, in a sense, because I don't know what it's rated. I don't know if it was R or PG-13. I think it's PG-13 because there's not enough in here to warrant an R.
I don't
It needs
even
to be,
yeah.
Yeah. I know they're trying to get a more, again, modern, younger audience in, right? Because I remember, nostalgia. You got to get that younger audience in here for the theater. But like, they should have made it a little bit more, vulgar in a sense, and just like, how Tropic Thunder did it, where it was R, and like they just again shot for the fences, and there's just like so many stupid things in that film. It's just like it's funny, and it still a, holds a testament to today's time because it's just like so morally unacceptable, honestly, but it's like still funny because it's so stupid with Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr.'s character and all that stuff. And of course, the simple Jack and everything else. It was just like it was just it was just vulgar, in a sense, where it's just like it needed to be that way, where it made everything work. This one, it probably needed to do that a little bit more. Just have them be, still be friends and everything, and just like give instead of it felt like they were just like holding back on friendships, like everything like, oh, you're a swell guy. Oh my God, this is great. It's like, that's just like, they're always like kissing his ass, Doug, it just like seemed like, oh, you're great. This is amazing. Don't change a thing. It kind of felt like sort of like a Vanity-esque project. I don't know if it was the writer of the film. I don't know who wrote the film. But just like very Vanity heavy dialogue, like, oh, this is amazing, don't change anything where it needed to be changed.
Yeah.
And again, I like the Anaconda scenes. I mean, when Doug was they found the van in the middle of the jungle, or the Amazon, and the plug was unplugged, and he plugs it back up, and so, it's a very quiet scene where he's lifting the hood up and shutting the hood back down, and then you see the Anaconda creep out from the background. I like that. Like, there's some good scenes like that. It just needed to have more of that. Where just like he's, like make the snake, a little bit more creepier, like, more of a threat, like he was a threat in the original, but like do something, like, of course, like the one scene where he comes down and he just eats Jack Black, like, I mean, that was, okay, but like it needed more, like let me see him being digested or something, I want to see more. It's just like, oh, he ate it and oh, he's dead. How, like, let me see him get shoved down the body, like they did that with John Voight.
Yeah.
And another character, I think there's another character in the original, was it, that you can see like the body print when it was going down. So like all the stuff that's already that you want basically in the original Anaconda. So, because like John Voight's like, this hard edged, you know, villain, and then you have the snake that's just constant on you, and then you have you know, your friendships with J Lo and Ice Cube and Eric Stoltz and stuff like that, and like there's like already all this stuff in there. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, like there's no reason to watch this one because there's no meat on the bone where you get all that, like in the
Yeah.
first film.
I I looked it up to see if it was PG-13 because was there even anything in there enough to be to add the 13? But right underneath it was like talking. There was some reviews or whatever, and it was like Paul Rudd, Jack Black, and toothless action comedy, and I was like, ooh, and it's like entertaining reboot slithers along but lacks real bite. Like, goddamn. I was like, at least other people, are not just trying to be gentle about it.
Yeah.
About how this but it's just I just can't
Yeah, it's awful to see
wrap
him
my
drop the
mind
ball
about
like
this.
that because like they had the opportunity. I mean, like
They really did.
why come back, like do this buddy comedy with a snake and not really do anything with it? Like it's more about friendships and the friends you make along the way and all that stuff and the now time and looking stuff like that. Themes, Ian, themes.
I
And it's just like
God.
it has all the themes in it, and it's no theme of a snake film basically. And even the last set piece with like the pyrotechnics going off, like that was kind of lacking too because like it's kind of hard to top the finale of the original. Like again, just go watch the original. It's good. It's fun, and it has Ice Cube making quips. That's entertaining.
Yeah.
Like everything you want. John Voight is the villain, and the everything that happens with him, and uh, it's just like it's an entertaining flick. And watch. Hell, even Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid is even better than this one.
Yeah.
And the other sequels. Like I'd rather watch the one with David Hasselhoff, Part 3.
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
I think what the main problem with this movie is that they were trying to make this meta commentary on reboots and remakes and about and I feel like they kind of lost the plot on that because everybody at the end of the movie was cheering and they loved the movie that they made, and it's like, okay, but like you guys, it's like I don't even understand the messaging behind it because it's just like all over the place with it. It's like, yes, I get it. Like, do what you love for the sake of doing it, and the money will fall in line thereof. And it's just like, you guys were, like, yeah, I get it. You want to go back in time and redo what you guys used to do, like making movies and try to just find some joy in life and do the things that you want to do and chase your dreams. And sometimes things don't work out, but that usually is an opportunity to rekindle old passions and find some, like, whatever success in it's success and failure.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I get that. I understand that. But like, what did you make? Because we were watching you make it. That was this groundbreaking. I was like, are you trying to say that TV audiences will just love whatever garbage is thrown at them, uh, because that's kind of not true, or this movie would be doing a lot better.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I just really wanted this to be a little better. I think that's like my big thing was like I was kind of just hoping that we'd get something more substantial out of this film other than
Yeah,
just like because I honestly I was just sitting there just watching it and just like I feel trapped right now. Like
yeah,
I
it's
have
definitely
to
one of
finish it.
those. It's one of those where you're just like it's. I mean, it goes from one point to, and again, I bring up the snake, but the snake just honestly felt like an afterthought. It was like the MacGuffin of the film, just like to keep things moving.
Yeah.
Like they're not. It just felt like, oh, what? How do we get to the next scene? Oh, here comes the snake. Like it just felt like a continue on scene. Like, how do we get them into the next predicament where their antics are acting up? How do we get Steve's on to pee on Jack Black's leg? Oh, he has a urinating issue. He can't pee in public, and he has to pee sitting down. Like, oh, the horror. It's just these weird offbeat humor. It just didn't work. But like, I don't even know what
Yeah.
I was originally saying. It's just again, it just they needed to work it around. Give it a little bit more of an edge to it. But
Yeah. Yeah, no,
it's
that
like Happy Go Lucky, the film with a snake. Like, oh, we're happy go lucky. Everything's you know like all is great. Everyone's wonderful. You know, nothing's bad
yeah.
happening.
That's what like that's why I felt like the snake had no significance whatsoever to the true like other than getting us out there and as a side effect of where they are and what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
Like instead of the main focus, it was just like honestly, the main premise of this movie was a background character. Like it's like this is just I don't know, maybe it's part of the themes. Oh my god. Oh well you think what you're trying to do, yeah, but it's really just like this. And it's like I don't understand. I'm too tired and grumpy. I was like, give me something that I don't have to like pull threads after threads to kind of get some semblance of an idea of what you're doing.
yeah. I mean,
But
hell,
like,
Bambi was more of a threat than Anaconda was.
okay, that is actually a perfect example. Like, we were talking about maybe trying to do like a comparison or like a ranking or whatever. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, Bambi Bambi was what they did with Bambi was kind of what they should have done with Anaconda. Like while Bambi wasn't in there the entire movie, Bambi was still the threat. Like we knew the threat. We understood that he was the threat. We got scenes and everything of like it wasn't great, no. But like I felt like Bambi was better than Anaconda.
Hmm.
And I felt like the humor should have been more like situational. And I don't know, horror comedies are either really good or really bad. And like I mean, like I watch a lot of horror comedies because I love horror comedies. That's like one of my favorite types of horror. I watch a lot of it. And sometimes they don't hit. And when they don't hit, they're awful because it's just, like, I'm trying to think of words.
Yeah,
My brain, it has been a long day, but
yeah.
it,
But I want to I wanted to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back. I don't mean to cut you off, Ian,
Oh,
but
you're
like
good.
the I kind of want because you're bringing up Bambi and everything, and we were bringing up Bambi, but then like I was thinking like if you honestly if you look at the ones that we reviewed for this mainstream or bust roulette marathon, the ones with the animals all follow the same plot. You have individuals, they're going somewhere. There's an animal attack, and then they find a more imminent threat. We have the general in Primitive War. We have the company, you know, in Bambi, and then we have the gold traders in Anaconda, and like they all follow the same formula. So it's like we kind of reviewed the same film 3 times, honestly.
Yeah. And that's kind of like might also have something to do with our enjoyment of this film too, is because we've seen this movie done so many times in so many different ways, but following the exact same, like, broken down to its essence, like, plot. And honestly, I would rather watch Bambi again. I mean, like, honestly, I could probably watch Bambi again because it wasn't like a terrible movie.
No.
And that's just, I was really kind of, when Anacondas was coming out, I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't think it was going to be like this.
Yeah.
And I am very disappointed by it because it did have a lot of potential. Like it had like they used the exact same budget to make this movie as the original. I looked it up. I saw that on there. It's like the budget was $45 million. They spent $45 million making this movie. And this movie has yet to make its money back. Um well, I mean it made its money back, but it's still not doing the best.
Yeah. Honestly, this one's just not going to have any longevity. This one's going to be, it's just going to fall through the wayside. Like, oh, remember? It's like, oh, remember that April Fool's Day movie like came out? Like all these, all the remakes, or reboots that come out years later, and like, oh, remember that had a remake? Like, oh no, like, oh yeah, it kind of sucked.
Yeah, no, this I feel like this
It's
movie
just
is
one of
going to
those.
yeah, it's going to definitely fall to the test of time. I mean, the first movie was so bad and so good. So good at the bad. And I mean, I haven't even
Mhm.
watched it.
It was because
And
it was ridiculous, because of John Voight and his portrayal of his character, and then especially the ending where he gets eaten and he vomited back out, and he winks at the camera, and just like all the fun like stupid things, but it's just like entertaining, and you're just like
yeah.
it's like outlandish and like zany, whereas like it's there's some good sequences, the waterfall sequence, and again the practical, there's CGI, like they do the practical effect of the anaconda sometimes, and that looked good.
Yeah.
Ice Cube, having a field day, an early Jennifer Lopez, doing her thing. It's just like there's like a lot of beats in that film. It's just fun, like I had a fun time in theaters watching that, and that's it's still a fun movie. I think it's one of those. I don't think it's overlooked, but it's just like in the pantheon of like snake movies, it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's still and the fact that the movie is still referenced today. I mean,
Hmm.
they even made this movie and they were making a movie about making a movie about, and then they saw some other people making a movie, and it was an internal commentary on that themes.
Hmm.
I'm just going to be saying themes for a while. That's probably going to be my new vocal stem. Is just going to be like, you know what, themes. But I just, it had the budget. It had a decent budget for it. It had a star-studded cast. It had people who know comedy. Inside It Out, who have made various successful movies throughout their entire career. And I think that's what makes this a lot worse. I think that's what makes it so much worse, in my opinion, is that they have the people. They knew better. And they still put out this film. And
Now
I mean,
I gotta ask you something. Do you if they took out Paul and Jack as the lead characters and put in two up and comers or unknowns, do you think that would have made the film a little bit better in terms because of the
honestly,
comedy portion?
honestly, I probably would have been I feel like I probably would be a little bit more lenient when it comes to the comedy. I mean, we do this all the time.
Yeah,
We see a ton of horror comedy, and it's like we say, you know what, the jokes hit and miss, but they tried. But
yeah.
with this, it's like these people are seasoned. They've been around for a while. I mean, like, um, fucking,
I'm just thinking it was a weak script, man. Like that's the
yeah,
whole thing. Like I just think the
it
whole
was
script needed a
weak.
rework.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they have these Paul Rudd and Jack Black should have known that the script was weak. That's the problem. And I feel like because they are such seasoned, I mean, look at Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny. That was you know, that was a
Yeah.
comedy that had elements of horror in it. Jack Black knows comedy. He's had his whole career successfully writing comedy. Like they both have
Yep.
uh
With Pick of Destiny, like, you had the director who also created Syphil and Ollie. So like that was, you know, there's you know you know the new comedy in general. Of course with Jack Black, Tenacious D, all that stuff. But like you had a director that knew comedy from being on television, MTV with Syphil and Ollie, and doing all kinds of skits with sock puppets. Like
yeah.
that was ridiculous stuff too if you watch Syphil and Ollie. But it like I don't again I didn't look at who directed this and who wrote it, but like I don't think it meshed well with their take on everything. Like it felt off, and it shouldn't have felt that way with, like as you mentioned, with Paul and Jack in the lead. Riffing back
Yeah.
and forth. There needed to be, like I said, like everything was always kissing someone's ass. Like, oh, this is great, this is amazing. Just that vanity like esque mentality of like everything is great. And like it kind of felt that way with the script. Like it was sort of like the script writer that did that, and then like it's a weird thing of events, but it had that mentality of that vanity project in
Yeah.
the script.
Well, so the person who directed it did The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with
Okay,
Nicolas Cage.
so that makes a little bit more sense. But I mean, because that one was meta too, but like that
I didn't watch that.
that was okay. I'd rather watch that over this because again, it's Nicolas Cage.
I love
Obviously.
I mean, I love Nick.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt like this movie might have been a little better if Nicolas Cage was in it.
Him like Willy's Wonderland, where just like going around just being stoic and just badass, just like
That was
or Drive Angry, like maybe sort of in that
yeah.
mentality. Just
Willy's Wonderland is such a great example of a horror comedy because he he knew that he was just he knew like what he wanted to do, and they expect what was expected of him.
mhm.
But I just learned that there was apparently a Chinese remake of the Anaconda film, and
Yeah,
now
it's
I
like
kind of want to watch that one. It came out in 2024.
Blood coil, Anaconda blood coil.
Let's see, Cursed Jungle.
Yeah, there's all kinds of Anaconda films. Like you can
Yeah,
just go out and pick one. There's again the Taiwan or over there in China, one of the countries, like they always like do the knockoff films, and they did one called Monster Python, which was actually not too bad. I remember picking that up at Big Lots when they had movies, and now if you can find a Big Lots, but like I remember picking up that and like that's not too bad. It was like a remake of Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid in a sense because it followed the same path, but like that wasn't too bad, and like all the other,
yeah.
just like I don't know. I'd rather watch Big Fucking Snake instead of this, and that one had a dude fucking a snake. So I don't
I mean, like that.
know. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Big Fucking Snake. It was Snake out of Compton. That was it. I think that was it.
See, I don't know. I felt like this movie was like not ambitious, but I felt like I don't even want to say it was a cash grab. I mean, it kind of felt like that. But, the way that like everybody was going on about it when they were doing their press tour and whatever, like you kind of had a sense that like they truly believed in this movie. And
Yeah.
that's great, like I'm glad that you like what you do, but like I like when actors know the movie they're in is terrible. And it's like I don't know. I felt the same way about Jumanji, the remake, as I did about this film. I mean, at least Jumanji was a little bit more entertaining, but like I felt that like I feel the same way as I have with almost all of Jack Black's movies, and The Rock was just kind of like this is just soulless. Like there's no real like substance behind it
Yeah. It's just
other
a
than like
mainstream formula.
yeah, and it's just like I felt like there was no like that they didn't really try that hard. And like I said, I think my biggest gripe is that, they are seasoned comedic actors. They have done writing for comedies that have been fairly successful. So I'm not giving them a pass. I can give Louisa a pass. I can give a lot of these indie directors a pass because a lot of them don't have the budget to do a whole like script rewrite and everything else. Like when it looks like it works on paper, but in like in actual like practice, it's just falls apart. And there's no way that none of these people could have known that this was just going to not work. And I think that's where my biggest issue is that like they could have done something. They had the budget for it. And half of them have been like, you could tell that they were trying to match the budget of the original film
Hmm.
to give it that, feel of the same thing. Because this movie could have easily had a bigger budget. I mean, hell, Paul Rudd probably could have just dropped half of that himself. And like I don't know. That's just my big problem is when it comes to these bigger movies like franchises, I'm always going to be a lot harder on it than I will be to some poor person trying to shoot a movie in a backyard because this is much different.
Hmm.
And just to see it flop like this and
Yeah.
just like I it's been a while since I've watched a movie where I felt trapped because I was like, if this would have been if I would have just saw this popped up on TV or like on Netflix or something, and I just said, I'm bored, let me watch it. I probably would have turned it off a while ago. And I'm like, this is for my show. I have to watch this. And I was just like, I just want to do something else right now. Because, like, I am not having a good time, especially after the day I had.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
No, but it's like when you watch it and you walk away from it, and you just come up with your main thought is, what was the point of it? You're just like, there was no reason for it. It was just nostalgia bait. Like, again, we've mentioned it already. Like, everything you want is in the original. Just watch the original. Characters are better, snakes better, effects are better. I mean, for the time. This is '97 we're talking about here, so. But, like, they did still have a practical snake, and, like, everything was better in that film, and, like, this one is just like, it's a missed opportunity, and that's honestly my final thoughts. It's just a missed opportunity. It's not the worst snake movie out there, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, it's a missed opportunity for what it could have been. It needed to have a little bit more oomph to it instead of just, oh, happy-go-lucky.
yeah. And then
This is
everything at the
amazing.
end, yeah, and everything at the end worked out. They wrote a masterpiece film. And it's just like, this, just does not, like, I was like, nothing in this movie screamed that you wrote a great movie.
Mhm.
Even in the world of that. And I was like, this was just like I don't know. Once we got to the ending, I was like, okay, I'm over this.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. I was like, it's just like, okay, so all of this hardship and they went through all of this character growth, whatever. They made the best film in the world or whatever that made Jennifer Lopez, spoiler alert, want to come up to him and be like, hey, let's make a movie. Even though we just tried to make a movie, like you said, and oh, everybody's dead. So we're going to throw even more money away. It's like, I'm like, okay. Like this
Well, it's
just,
just happenstance, Ian.
yeah. And I was just like, so they're going back. I was like, I was like, I swear to God, this better not be a setup for a sequel because I don't see that going very well.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But I don't think there's really that much more to say, even though I didn't expect this review to go as long as it did, honestly. But
uh,
we kind of go on tangents, and it's just, we like to talk about things. But
yeah.
Ian, as always, this is no, I can't do that yet. That is going to do it for our mainstream or bust roulette marathon. It has been a wild one. 5 wild choices have been made. We might do this again, maybe, I don't know, later on in the year, because we usually have our other marathon. So we might do this at the beginning of the year next, 2027. In case we miss, we'll probably miss a few things this year. So we'll probably bring it back again. Um, but as always, Ian, it's great talking with you. Is We have to see what we're going to do for March, and we got some, I don't know if we even have an idea planned yet, but we always come up with these on the whim. But we're looking forward to whatever March may bring. So I appreciate everyone for listening on this mainstream or bust roulette journey that we experienced, and we appreciate any feedback you give us. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next time here on Horror Not Oasis.
Good night, everyone.